And that concludes the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. I'm Raven Davis.
And I'm Jay Philippe.
Thank you so much for tuning in. The Bahamas Tonight is coming your way next. Here's a live look. They're on your screen.
ZNS News is brought to you by the new BTC. Fiber is here. Faster, stronger, more reliable. Together, we are unstoppable. Switch today.
First at 11. Continued growth in GDP is likely when fueled by strong performance. That's according to the latest ratings from Fitch. We break down the assessment of the Bahamas and the factors contributing to the projections. Also, we hear more from the Prime Minister on the implications of those U.S. tariffs just hours after the Trump administration announced a 90-day reprieve for 90 countries, including the Bahamas. And the family of a tourist suspect foul play, notwithstanding a pathologist report that indicated the man drowned. This as a forensic toxicology analysis is awaiting. The Bahamas Tonight at 11 starts now. Good evening, everyone. I'm Royston Jones, and this is the Bahamas Tonight at 11. Welcome to the broadcast. The Ministry of Finance says a continued growth in GDP is likely when fueled by strong performance in the tourism sector, and that trajectory is expected well into the next fiscal year, cushioned by insurance and contingency funds, substantial external liquidity in the financial sector, all crafted to reduce impact from natural disasters. That rosy outlook on the heels of New York-based Fitch ratings giving the Bahamas a BB- rating, predicting a stable outlook for the country. The government again attributing this to strong governance and the fiscal consolidation. Fitch's assessment following the upbeat rating of Moody's earlier this week, which upped its outlook from the Bahamas from stable to positive. Just hours after United States President Donald Trump gave 90 countries a 90-day reprieve from the U.S. government's 10% reciprocal tariff to export duty-free items to the U.S., international media reports state that the President Trump may consider extending that pause. We've got more on Prime Minister's address and the implications of those tariffs. He confirmed that discussions are being held with Bahamian exporters to understand whether there are short-term policies to cushion the fallout.
My government has taken trade diversification seriously from the start, which means that for the first time, our country has in place an agency dedicated to expanding trading opportunities and a national trade policy. Significant efforts to create new trade relationships were already underway, and those efforts will now be intensified. The new tariffs are likely to cause new inflationary pressures, which would mean higher prices for Bahamian consumers. For a country like ours, higher prices will add to what is already an unbearable high cost of living. We are very concerned about the impact on Bahamian families.
While the government touts the recent Moody's credit rating from stable to positive, Prime Minister Davis acknowledged that their report did state that the country remains vulnerable to external shocks. This is why he affirms that his government is doing all it can to mitigate economic peril at any cost.
Today, we face new risks amid enormous uncertainty. The U.S. tariffs are the highest they have been in more than a century. And since then, of course, the world's economies and supply chains have become intertwined in complex ways, making it difficult to predict with precision what happens next. Brothers and sisters, we may be in uncharted territory, but we know how to survive storms. We have always found a way to create opportunities out of uncertainty, to forge clarity and purpose from chaos and confusion.
Well, there seems to be a bit of a silver lining to this escalating trade war, or at least Bahamasair's managing director thinks so. Tracy Cooper reasons that as Americans tighten up on their budgets, many of them will actually choose travel based on proximity, and that's where he believes the Bahamas comes in.
It says that when Americans have a bit of a difficulty with savings and spendings, that they tend to try to then vacation more closer to home. So we see the Bahamas as actually benefiting from, if the Americans don't want to go to Europe, or they don't want to go to Asia, or they don't want to go elsewhere, the Bahamas is just only 50 miles away. And so I think it is beneficial to the Bahamas. I think we'll see the results of that. But I'm hoping that the tariff thing would all kind of go away eventually.
It was a special day for the national flag carrier, which celebrated in a big way 40 years of nonstop daily service to the city of Orlando. The airline marking the day with a special ceremony at its gate in the Orlando International Airport. Passengers arriving on the lunchtime flight today from Nassau were greeted with junkanoo, gifts, and other treats. Bahamasair Chair Tanya Pratt also announced more big news about the airline's future with Orlando.
Recognizing a growing interest, we are gearing up to introduce a twice-weekly service. You heard that? Twice-weekly service between Orlando and Freeport.
That twice-weekly service between Freeport and Orlando is expected to begin later this summer. The Nassau to Orlando route started back on April 10th, 1985. In that time, Bahamasair has made more than 25,000 flights to the city. At today's event, officials representing both sides of the route reflected on the significance of this partnership.
We recognize that when this route took flight, it was and still is more than just connecting vibrant cities. But it was more about opening doors to unforgettable experiences and countless memories while persons travel to the islands of the Bahamas.
Bahamasair is quite proud to indicate that it actually started this route back in April of 1985 and that we have done it nonstop. Now, we actually, at this particular time, fly every day to Orlando, and in the peak times, in the summer times, we actually multiply that flying twice a day.
Part of it, I think, is just the proximity of the two. I mean, you are in Nassau in an hour and 10 minutes. I mean, there's no other island, honestly, that you can get to that quickly from Orlando. So if people from here want a quick getaway, for the weekend to go down to Atlantis or Bahamas or go scuba diving or to go fishing, it's such an easy way to get there.
Jet ski rides with live streaming body cams. Police and government officials working together to come up with solutions to protect tourists and save the #1 industry. And this in the face of 2 alleged rapes involving American tourists and jet ski operators in the past month. Felicity Darville has that story.
The United States Embassy has issued yet another alert to its citizens, advising them of the risks of renting jet skis in the Bahamas. Authorities are now moving quickly to procure body cameras that will have to be worn by all jet ski operators. That, according to National Security Minister, the Honorable Wayne Monroe.
I understand there is a committee that's chaired by tourism that has representation from the port. And as far as I'm aware, Assistant Commissioner of Police Janet McKenzie is the police representative on it. I support the initiative, the solution being advanced by the police. We have, together with the police, gotten the pricing of the body-worn 4 cameras, the ones that are active live. You can view it real time, and the wearer can communicate back to you, and you can communicate to the wearer. While one doesn't jump to a conclusion about innocence or guilt, the U.S. Embassy will warn its citizens based on what it sees to be credible threats. And so we have to move to minimize those threats.
Once implemented, here's what to expect.
We were told that these are rogue renters who aren't licensed by the port. Centralized renting, and the renter would wear it. And a tourism product would be, at the end of it, you should be able to download and get a video of your ride that you could share with friends, put on your social media content. But we have to take away the secrecy in which sexual offenses are committed. Most people do not commit them in the open. And so anywhere that you shine a light will limit or seek to discourage it. As I say, I'm hopeful. I think the police's idea is a very good one, and I hope that it can be implemented.
Well, authorities are hoping that this measure will help to allay fears of sexual and physical violence. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Felicity Darville.
Thanks, Felicity. A Bowie, Maryland family suspicion that foul play was behind their loved one's death here in the Bahamas this weekend shot after the results of an autopsy report suggested otherwise. Days after Denari McElmont's lifeless body was found on a beach on Paradise Island, the pathologist's findings revealed that the 23-year-old died as a result of drowning, but that police were still awaiting the forensic toxicology analysis. Authorities also making it clear that the matter would be forwarded to His Majesty's coroner. But McElmont's mother, Michelle, told Eyewitness News there were injuries to her son's face and sand in his hair. When asked about claims of the victim being assaulted, the National Security Minister made it clear he is not part of the investigation, but he did say this.
There's an autopsy. I'm familiar with the forensic pathologist who was trained in the U.S., who I think participated in some of the work when they were seeking to identify people from ground zero. We have very competent forensic pathologists. If they do not give faith and credit to her conclusions, which will be in a comprehensive report, I'm quite sure when they transport, they can have another pathologist look at it if they see fit. But I would have faith and confidence in the work of the forensic pathologist, who I know who gives evidence in our courts very frequently.
Still to come, the Chief Justice attending a high-level conference. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight at 11. More news in just a moment.
Imagine a world where every brand knows your name and every store awaits your arrival. Elite shopping, travel where luxury is a lifestyle and every journey feels like home. Dine where every flavor is just for you, every table reserved, and every moment a taste of perfection. Make every big moment even bigger. Experience banking where wealth isn't just managed, it's maximized. Step into a world without limits. Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
Hello everyone, this is Tony Williams back with a special promotion from Bahamasair.com and GoGo Florida. The $100 deposit is back, but it's only on your debit card. So whether you're renting that sedan, SUV, or spacious minivan for group or family trips, keep your cash in your pocket. Only Dollar Thrifty is making it convenient for you. Your $100 deposit held on your debit card. Available at Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach, and Orlando. Book now and save big all summer long.
Throughout our lifetime, we must all make decisions. No matter how we choose, the right one just needs to be made. Like having J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers as your insurance partner. We've been serving the Bahamas for over 100 years. Whether you need home, motor, marine, or commercial insurance, make the right decision. Call 397-2100 or visit jsjohnson.com.
JS Johnson Insurance. Peace of mind.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, where safety is first.
The Honorable Chief Justice Sir Ian Winder is in Malta attending the 24th Commonwealth Law Conference. This year's conference will focus on human rights initiatives, corporate and commercial law strategies, and the integration of artificial intelligence within the judicial process. These discussions aim to support the judiciary in adapting to technological advancements, reinforcing rights-based governance and shaping strategic legal framework in the 21st century. As head of the Bahamian judiciary, Chief Justice Winder is expected to join regional and international counterparts in high-level exchanges that will inform and enhance local strategies for justice reform, digital innovation, and institutional resilience. From the crime beat, police are searching for two armed robbers tonight. It was around 10:30 last night when a masked man sitting in his vehicle, or a man rather in his vehicle, at a financial institution on John F. Kennedy Drive when two armed men approached him. The armed man, who wore dark-colored clothing and hoodies, reportedly robbed him of his black Ford Focus. The robbers fled the scene in a western direction on John F. Kennedy Drive. If you have any information that can assist police with this investigation, contact 911, 919, or the Criminal Investigation Department at 502-9991. As part of ongoing activities to mark Child Protection Month 2025, a special church service was recently held to pray for the nation's children and renew the call to protect their well-being. Diane Dorset has that story tonight.
Inside Bible Truth Ministries, songs of hope echoed as students, staff at the Department of Social Services, and others gathered to uplift the most vulnerable among us, our children. A special service was hosted by the Department of Social Services in partnership with Suspected Child Abuse and Neglect, or SCAN, as part of the national campaign to raise awareness about child abuse and neglect. With more than 2,000 cases of child abuse, neglect, and abandonment reported in New Providence over the past 5 years, Minister Miles DeRoda gave this call to action.
Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. This is our call to action as a community. We are called to speak for those who are vulnerable, to stand up for the children who may not yet have a voice, but whose lives are precious and deserving of our protection.
The service featured prayers for abused and missing children, a spiritual charge by founding Pastor Ellison Greenslade, and an urging for all Bahamians to be vigilant and proactive. Students also participated through scripture readings, musical and dance selections, and spoken word. Among them was D.W. Davis student Francina Hanna, who delivered a powerful poem about surviving abuse.
Some days they shouted me in harsh words that made me cry. I felt as though life was too hard, that I wanted to die. They shouted words like stupid, idiot, dumb, and so much more. Sometimes I felt like I could not take it anymore. Even though I went through these things, I did not lose hope. I started to believe in myself, and I was able to cope. I began to believe that I'm special, even if they said I was not.
To conclude was Pastor Greenslade with a stirring message, reminding the congregation that the protection of children is not only a civic duty, but also a spiritual one.
From the womb, God offers care and protection for and the well-being of all his children. And so we ought to be doing likewise.
It truly takes a village to raise a child. And during this year's Child Protection Month, we are reminded that we are powered by hope and strengthened by prevention. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Diane Dorset.
Thank you, Diane. There's a saying, you put in the work and you get results. The mantra Bahamas Striping Group of Companies is following as it moves full steam with its Eleuthera Road Improvement Project. Altavis Munnings explains.
Inter-island transporting of freight and equipment is one of the challenges Bahamas Striping Group of Companies officials have to contend with on a daily basis. Overcoming logistical woes at its Eleuthera hub is one solution to propelling the company's progress.
It's more easier here because we have different landing spots. So you have a boat coming Rocksound as well as the Governors, and then sometimes have Hatchet Bay. So if you miss one, you have the opportunity to catch the other one. So that's been a plus for us. But at the end of the day, the whole idea for us is to keep the project going, so we always try to have materials on island before we actually need it, and to keep a good stockpile in stock.
The Eleuthera Road Improvement Project will cover the island's 163 miles, and residents are already enjoying the benefits, coupled with the economic activity it has spurred.
That's as simple as we have 50 additional guys on the island living and spending in the local businesses. So that in itself at this time is a boost to the economy.
The striping company is currently working on 2 major family island projects, which requires a lot of labor and equipment. But according to Bahamas Striping Group of Companies President Otario Mitchell, there is an evident difference in plant size.
The Exuma plant output is 110 tons per hour. The plant you see in the back of me is 160 tons an hour. So because we want to be able to get more work done quickly, it was necessary for us to get a larger plant than the one we have in Exuma. When you look at the amount of work, it definitely needed.
The Eleuthera Road Improvement Project is expected to be completed in 2028. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Altavis Munnings.
Thank you, Altavis. Eugene Stewart has a look at what's coming up in sports tonight. Eugene?
Fresh faces prepare to represent the country at this year's Carifta Games. Details of that story coming up in sports.
Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, we have been in Exuma now for the past 4 years, carrying out our paving program. A part of our company's philosophy is to do some work to international standards. So when you look at our paving division, we have a state-of-the-art lab to do all of our testing in-house, as well as a state-of-the-art asphalt plant with a trained technician carrying out the work on that site. The overarching goal of our company is to produce the work that we're doing in the entire Bahamas to international standards. We also make a difference by the training of our staff. We have a very intensive training program going on to where we are teaching young men how to learn the art of striping. Being a young man myself, I've made mistakes in the past. I was given a second chance to better my life, and it's only fitting that we pass it along. What's important for us is giving them a second chance for them to get a skill and a career that can take them further in life.
Carter is the slave name that was given to my forefathers and was passed on to me. Hurricane is the professional name that I acquired later on in life. One thing I could do, and the only thing, was box.
Can you believe that black punk? He thinks he's champion of the world.
We're looking for 2 Negroes in a white car.
Any two will do.
Look carefully, sir. Are these the 2 men who shot you?
He said no.
Reuben Carter, you are sentenced to be imprisoned for the remainder of your natural life.
I'm innocent. I've committed no crime.
Here comes the story of the hurricane. The man the authorities gave.
Oh, your first book, huh?
16th round.
Reuben Hurricane Carter.
You know what, Les? Sometimes we don't pick the books we read, they pick us.
Your Honor, this case was built on a foundation of lies.
20 years spent locked up in a cage. Justice, that's all I ask for. Hate put me in prison. Love's gonna bust me out.
Welcome to your Thankful Thursday Sports Check, everyone. I'm Eugene Stewart. Well, as Team Bahamas continues their preparations for this year's Carifta Track and Field Championships, we hear from some new faces and a veteran on their expectations for the group and their preparations thus far.
It feels good. And like I said, I know about to make it this far now. Making it this far is a big accomplishment for me. Really what a goal that I was setting in my head. Always wanted to be up. I participated in the 1500 and the 3K, the long distance races, the men race. I call it the men race. This is the hard distance races. The hardest races. Nobody else, even my, you know what I mean. They don't want to compete in this.
They started all about from July. All them 12,600s, 10,600. It was just a lot of hard work. Many days I wanted to, give up, but, Coach kept me going, kept me motivated. It feels good, like I have never run on this big stage before. I had this opportunity. I'm thankful for this opportunity. I just want to make my Bahamian family proud and do my best for my country.
In what he calls a full circle moment, throwing coach Kyle Higgs says it's a marathon, not a sprint.
I think that we have a very strong team heading with us to Trinidad. I'm looking forward to everyone's successes, bring home many medals and success stories back to families, parents, and schools to celebrate. For me, it's really just been a matter of getting these kids to understand that this is a journey. Success is a destination, but at the same time, success is also small steps. And that's what we have to understand. We have to come to practice to get better, 1% better, day by day. Don't shoot for the moon necessarily. That's the big goal. But we can't look for the big goal, in one day. Rome was not built in a day, and at the same time, our success stories aren't written in the same day. So we just apply that concept and that mentality to practice. And, we apply cues, and bit by bit, step by step, we work towards a perfect throw.
Olympic gold medalist Demetrius Pinder also giving remarks for the young, talented athletes.
So proud of them. I remember when I was in the position, trying to make the Carifta team, and these guys was able to pull it off. Doing some hard training on and off the track. So, man, it all came together in the right time, and I'm proud and happy for them. It's track and field. anything can happen at any given moment. So just being able to complete, their race, they make it so far, and be happy and compete with the best.
And the local darts news, the Bahamas Darts Federation will be hosting their annual Gold Cup Championships in Eleuthera. Dart teams from the Abaco Darts Association, Grand Bahama Darts Association, Eleuthera Darts Association, and the Nassau Darts Association will meet up to battle for the title of the BDF Gold Cup champions. Head coach Ingrid Dorset on the expectations from this year's tournament.
We're expecting everybody to bring their top games, their top shooters out, and we're also anticipating that, the overall sportsmanship of the dart community shows.
Members of the male contingent, Neil Cartwright, Darren Lloyd, Fenton Francois, Ben West, Darrell Dorset, Michael Moss II, Romero Cartwright, Ken Brathwaite, and Navarro Bastian. And for the female contingent, Elvis Liz Kemp, Shirlene Moss, Sandra Ferguson, Valencia Roll, and Helen Sweeting. The two-day competition is set for tomorrow, April 11th to Saturday, April 12th. And that does it for your Thankful Thursday Sports Check, everyone. I'm Eugene Stewart. Stay tuned. We've got weather when we return.
Here at Immigration Care Service, you can trust us, especially if you have experienced issues or problems with the U.S. immigration at the borders. We'll do our best to provide options and solutions to immigration roadblocks, so travelers can continue visiting the U.S. and residents can continue living their lives in the U.S. without worries. The best part? Our services are affordable and accessible. Take the mystery, confusion, and fear out of your immigration concerns. Contact Immigration Care Service today.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting TingsyBahamas.com.
Land occupied by a hostile army.
Dahlia said they are saying this happened to us because we follow the Messiah. They say we have deserted the ways of our fathers.
A community. A family struggling to live.
Jerusalem must be freed from her oppressors.
Struggling to love.
He said we should love our enemies. That's what makes us different.
Struggling to believe.
Sometimes we have to go through pain so that we will not be left broken, so we can truly be healed.
In the face of all that life brings. Rivka.
It's time now for a weather check with Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. Good evening, Basil.
Good evening, Royston. A cold front, a rather weak one, brought some much-needed rain to the northwest Bahamas yesterday, and that has since moved off to the east, but we still have one or two little passing showers over the extreme northwestern parts of the country, and your temperatures around the islands this evening, things are starting to drop already. Marshall, Abaco at 70 degrees, 73 in Greenville, Key, and in Freeport, Grand Bahama. So we could see some 60s later on tonight. For taking you further south, the Berry Islands at 75, 77 in Allenstown, Bimini, 74 in Harper Island and Roxanne, Eleuthera. Allenstown, Cat Island, 76 degrees, 75 in Black Point, Exuma, Camp Space on Andros as well. Fresh Creek, Central Andros at 74 degrees, 77 in Georgetown, Exuma. Rum Key, San Salvador at 76 degrees, 78 degrees in Crooked Island, Clarence Sound, Long Island, and Ragged Island. Betsy Bay may go on to 76, Ackland 76, Matthew Town, Inagua a bit warm at 82 degrees, and the Turks and Caicos Islands at 81 degrees. And your forecast tonight, we're looking at mainly clear and mild with the low temperature getting down to 68 degrees, and tomorrow it's going to be mostly sunny, quite pleasant with a high temperature of 80 degrees. And your extended weather forecast, pretty nice tomorrow, but come Saturday, we have that second front moves into the area in the afternoon, so we could get 1 or 2 passing showers in the late morning. Temperature-wise, we're going to climb up to about 82 degrees just ahead of that frontal passage, but once that front goes through, we're going to see some nice nighttime temperatures. They will reside in the 60s right through the greater part of next week, and those daytime temperatures dipping below the 80-degree mark on Sunday and Monday, but then things will start warming up on Tuesday as we get back into those 80s, but the nights, most importantly, will remain nice and comfortable for the next several days. Royston.
Thank you very much, Basil. That is excellent news. Well, that's going to do it for the Bahamas tonight at 11. Thank you for continuing to make ZNS your first choice for news and information. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better than ZNS. Thank you for watching, and good night.
At Tony Williams Down Highway, I'm Tajaro Hudson. This is ZNS.